On the sweeping curve of the Tuscan coast, where the Tyrrhenian Sea laps against shores of dark, glittering sand, a verdant headland rises to command a panoramic view of the water and the distant, hazy silhouette of the Isle of Elba. This is Populonia. Today, it presents a vision of serene, almost sleepy Mediterranean beauty. A winding road leads through olive groves to a tiny, perfectly preserved medieval hamlet enclosed within fortress walls, while below, the magnificent Gulf of Baratti cradles a quiet bay where pleasure boats now anchor. But this idyllic landscape is a mask, a green veil drawn over a past of fire, smoke, and immense industrial power. For this tranquil spot was once the site of a thriving metropolis, a city unique in the ancient world. Populonia, the one and only great city of the Etruscans to be built directly upon the sea. While other major Etruscan cities like Volterra and Cortona were perched on defensive inland hilltops, Populonia turned its face to the water, embracing it as the source of its extraordinary wealth and influence. Its story is not one of agriculture or pastoral life, but one forged in the crucible of industry. The city was, for centuries, the primary metallurgical center of the ancient Mediterranean, a vast, sprawling workshop dedicated to a single, transformative process, turning raw iron ore from Elba into the metal that built an empire. To understand Populonia is to understand that its beautiful bay was not a tranquil resort, but a bustling industrial port, its hillsides not just scenic viewpoints, but the glowing heart of a furnace that burned for nearly 1,000 years. The reason for Populonia's existence and its immense power lay just 13 kilometers across the water. The Isle of Elba, known to the ancient Greeks as Aethalia, the smoky one, for the fumes of its own early smelting operations, was a geological treasure chest, phenomenally rich in deposits of hematite, a high-quality iron ore. The Etruscans of Populonia engineered a massive industrial operation based on this proximity. Race ships would ferry the raw, reddish-brown rock across the short strait to the workshops lining the Gulf of Baratti. The mainland location was crucial, for the smelting process required not only ore, but also a colossal amount of fuel in the form of charcoal. The vast forests of the Tuscan mainland provided a seemingly inexhaustible supply of wood, a resource that Elba itself could not offer on such a scale. From the 9th century BC through to the Roman era, the landscape of Populonia was dominated by this industry. The air would have been perpetually hazy with the smoke from thousands of charcoal pits and smelting furnaces. The slopes behind the bay would have glowed with an orange infernal light day and night. The rhythmic clang of hammers on anvils, the roar of bellows, and the shouts of workers would have echoed across the water. This was an Iron Age powerhouse, a city that produced not only the tools necessary for agriculture and daily life, plowshares, knives, utensils, but also the weapons that equipped Etruscan armies and the trade goods that connected them to the wider Mediterranean world. This intense focus on metallurgy shaped every aspect of the city, from its physical layout to the very ground upon which it was built. The decline of Populonia began with the rise of a new, formidable power, Rome. As the Romans consolidated their control over the Italian peninsula, they gradually absorbed the Etruscan city-states. Populonia was conquered in the 3rd century BC. And while its industry continued for a time under Roman administration, its strategic and economic importance began to wane. Rome developed other sources of iron, and the city's political independence was lost forever. Over the centuries, the once great metropolis slowly faded. The port silted up, malaria became endemic in the nearby coastal marshes, and the population dwindled, retreating to the more easily defensible Acropolis. By the late Roman Empire, the lower city was largely abandoned, and the forest began to reclaim the land, growing over the great slag heaps and the hidden city of the dead. For over 1,000 years, Populonia's greatest glories remained a secret, buried and forgotten. A tiny, fortified hamlet was built on the Acropolis in the 15th century by the Appiani lords of Piombino, a small castle community living literally on top of the ruins of a city. The true rediscovery of ancient Populonia was a direct and ironic consequence of its industrial past. In the early 20th century, an industrial company was formed to process the vast slag heaps of Baratti, as modern techniques could still extract a significant amount of residual iron from the ancient waste. As steam shovels began to clear away the black mountain of slag, they struck the tops of the monumental tombs of the necropolis of San Serboni. The revelation was one of the most sensational archaeological events of its time. A perfectly preserved Etruscan cemetery, untouched for millennia, was emerging from its industrial tomb. The discovery sparked decades of systematic excavation that have pieced together the story of this unique city. The creation of the archaeological park of Baratti and Populonia has now preserved this incredible landscape, allowing visitors to explore both the industrial areas and the various necropolises, and to climb the Acropolis to stand where the Etruscan rulers once stood. To visit Populonia today is to experience a place of profound resonance and contrast. It is to stand on a beach of dark, iron-flecked sand and imagine it not as a place of leisure, but as a noisy, smoky factory floor. It is to walk among the monumental tombs of warrior princes and realize that their wealth came from the fire and soot of the furnaces nearby. Populonia is not a pristine relic like Pompeii, nor is it a remote hilltop fortress. It is a testament to the raw, elemental power of industry in the ancient world. It demonstrates how a civilization harnessed the Earth's resources to achieve greatness, and how that very industry both sustained the city and, ultimately, buried its own history, preserving it for a future that could scarcely have been imagined. It remains a unique and unforgettable chapter in the story of the ancient Mediterranean, a city of iron, fire, and ghosts sleeping under the Tuscan sun.